first half, always liable to be the brightest spark, but this is the setup of Familiano. Doesn't quite come off. This was just a dress rehearsal. They're looking for Familiano, but they're catching another late arriving player in Velasquez, who would be giving his marching orders a little bit later on. Betancourt always willing to drive on in support inside, but this one is beautifully pulled back from Axalt, one of his few drives. Here, this one is sent home beautifully. First one was cancelled by the same player, but very little infraction in our opinion, but there's no mistaking this one. It's a free, powerful header. It's very unlucky here, striking the post from distance, and again, tough luck over that very narrow angle from Claudio, but just cannot find its way through. But they would eventually with this one. Wonderful. Reina gets his picture taken. Beautiful ball sent through. Capia started it. Flores arrows the angle away from goal, so he's got a lot to do, but cuts in, and then that unorthodox strike, Cristiano Ronaldo-like. Take a look again. The instep is pointed down to the ground. The power, he steps directly through the middle of the ball in a very unusual type of strike. You more often see the player wrapping around his foot on that right side and trying to curl it in, but little Jose Yori Reina did it his way and hit pay dirt.
Ray, you also take a look, mention the fact that some of these players coming up in the footsteps of some other legends. That was very Farfan-like, because not only did he snap that, but also not much of a backswing, not much time for the Amores to get ready, and before he knew it, the ball was past him. It was that more instep curve to beat Brazil, but that break to beat the offside trap, costing Uruguay here. And now all level, 10 on 10 in the altitude, in the heat, tied at 1, 45 minutes more to go in the opener for both teams in this final round. There's Guillermo de Amores from tiny San Jacinto down in southern Uruguay, almost directly on the River Plate itself. Nico Lopez from the big city of Montevideo, and now big city of Rome, needs to show up.
Exactly. Started out, as we saw in the highlights, looking very threatening, but he did fade away, Nicolas. So we'll see if Diego Roland can supply him with a little bit more danger. He's capable of really opening up this Peruvian defense. There's no question about it. And Nicolas Lopez is Uruguay's danger man. He'll be well supported by the likes of Lexalt and Cristoforo and Betancourt, but you've got to keep an eye on this little terrier.
Ball bobbled by the Amores, and he gratefully falls on top of it. Phil Shane, Ray Hudson with you here on beIN Sport. Our coverage of the South American Under-20 Championships continue. The two group stages of 5 teams apiece, launching the top 3 into this final group of 6. And now another chance for Reina as Peru putting Uruguay to pressure. Top 4 teams will advance to Turkey 2013. 11 teams have already booked their tickets. Of course, for the hosts, Turkey, a very short trip. Australia, Iraq, South Korea, and Uzbekistan qualifying from Asia. Croatia, England, France, Greece, Portugal, and Spain from Europe. CONCACAF is next. They'll have the month of February to themselves. In fact, U.S. just wrapping up a couple more days in Puebla, their pre-camp, before they return to Puebla to do it for real in 3 weeks' time. Starting out with Costa Rica and Haiti. Africa in the middle of March will start out to send their 4 teams, and Oceania will start in the middle of March to send their 1 representative. Uruguay finished second to Brazil in South America, and actually finished ahead of the Brazilians in the World Championship to finish second there as well. Well, Brazil finished 4th Launched in, good chance for the header, but the flag coming up to deny Chavez. Nicknamed Dakar after that famous race, which is wrapping up in South America as we speak. This race just at the midway point. Again, Uruguay 3-3 draw against Peru in the opener. Beat Brazil and then drew Ecuador and Venezuela 2-2 apiece. Peru, after their draw with Uruguay, beat Venezuela but then stumbled against Ecuador, forcing them, although they did have the tiebreaker, into a must-not-lose game against Brazil, and they responded with a 2-0 victory. Diego Roland, one of the best players in the group stage for Uruguay, getting a chance here today off the bench. And it looks like for Betancourt. Launch long, chested down.
Sloppy.
Emiliano doesn't find a target.
Peru, again, coming out of the locker room, a little bit more sharpness about them, Phil. A little bit more intricate as that first half wore on. They've brought it out of the lockout again here.
Terena sneaks it in, close to a handball on Varela. Act like you're nonplussed. Take another look.
Oh, it's definitely not a handball.
What was that?
It's not a handball.
Well,
too close. Take a look again. It strikes him right on the arm.
Hands moving, but
it's not
we've
a handball.
Seen it called.
Never handballed in a million years. Never going to get that.
Ball sails long, back into the middle. Chavez launched upfield by Laxalt. Big switch from Inestrosa again to Flores.
Yep, impressive start here.
Lifted into the corner, bounces over Pais. He'll get a second crack at it and surrender the throw. Chested Flores, only about 5'7", but loaded with skill. Tries to get through two. Uruguay comes away with it. Peru pinching it off with Guarderas.
They're playing through the Blues.
Launched high. Morris in goal, Varela inside, looking for it. The substitute Roland with a little bump. Mentioned the fact that they had dropped Jim Varela to the back line in place of Gaston Silva, who is on the bench according to the dress roster, but reminded that Silva with a little muscle pull against Venezuela, so maybe not quite 100%, but it did cost them on that Reina goal. Reina, who only played the first half against Brazil, out there again and looks fresh. Inestrosa lifting it, but off target. Big Fabricio Emiliano now with the captain's armband, anchored a bit deeper now that they're down to 10. Johnny Rodriguez on the left bank.
For Uruguay has just gone completely missing. Peru stepping into this midfield of Uruguay and really giving them the old bossa nova treatment. They've got so much time and so many options now. And this is the old rope-a-dope by Uruguay, just falling back and just really sucking them in, looking for these dangerous counter-attacks that we've seen Uruguay hit opponents with in the past. But I'm not so sure if this is by intent or if Berzeri's men are just getting completely outplayed. And 6 minutes, Phil. Uruguay's barely sniffed at the ball. Again, look at this. So much time and space. It's like Peru's got 2 extra men.
Now for Torrejon. Reina tripped up. He'll get the call against Pais. And again, they've changed things up a bit. Mentioned they like that 3-3-2-2. Well, today playing Cartagena a bit deeper. Chavez pushing forward. And now that both teams are down a man, there's a lot more space to take advantage of.
This is the little string puller. Talk all you want about Reina, but this kid here, Flores, he's the one with his hands on the steering wheel for Peru.
Launching that one deep, trying to settle, and does. Hint of a handball against the kid.
Yeah, unlucky.
But that's a handball, you say?
That one was certainly a handball.
Okay.
Take a look.
Can we change glasses? Ball to hand even more there, but regardless, that one is always called, and no argument from Tapia.
Right, he knew it. You see, that's a handball.
De Amores, long upfield. Liverpool keeper almost finding a man, but Nico Lopez ruled to have pushed. Been a tightly called match from Carlos Vera.
That one was coming together, the 2 players, but you're right, Phil, he is calling it that way, which is fair enough, calling them both ways.
Again, 2 red cards in the first match between Chile and Peru, both in the first half. Similar story here. Well, Chile scored first, as did Uruguay. Paraguay responded with 3 in a row of their own to win and upend previously unblemished Chile, and Peru looking to do that. They've tied it at 1. Back to the backup keeper, Andy Vidal. Cristal Kid getting it across midfield. Flipping it back to the middle, Inestrosa. It's Flores again, chipping it for Reina, but cut off by Johnny Rodriguez. And now the left back out of position as Guarderas there. Peru, see if they can take advantage. Chavez, Inestrosa as the Olays start to come from the Peruvian end. Slipping away, a rare blemish on Flores' book. Here's Roland. Forced through by Laxalt. Lopez giving chase. Lopez against Marcos Ortiz.
And there you go, that's what Uruguay's about. 3 passes and they are down Peru's throat with full danger. Laxalt it was, clipping it on to the ever-emerging Nicolas Lopez. They're just doing it in a different way, Phil. And Peru has been certainly the most impressive for the footballing sides in this second half, and Uruguay starting to realise they're going to have to get this in motion before this dangerous Peru team puncture them.
Cartagena over to Torrejon. The Cristal Kid tripped up, or was he? Looks like he clipped his own heels. Ice and company take off. This time it's Guillermo Varela. Reina with a little message. One more match today, Colombia, Ecuador. You can catch it on beIN Sport and beIN Sport in Espanol. Check us out online, beinsport.tv. Of course, so much going on. Copa del Rey, Copa Italia. Not that far away from World Cup qualifiers. So much. We have 2 channels jam-packed with football. If you don't have both channels, call your cable or satellite operator and find out why. Headed down, Guarderas skips through in the midfield, but a whistle behind the play. Foul Uruguay. A little different in this final stage. Mentioned it was 5-team groups, so there was always a team with a bye, and they were playing every other day. Here with the 6 teams every 3 days. In fact, after the second match, there'll be a 4-day break. That's a veritable vacation for these kids. Approaching the hour to the back post. Headed down by Chavez, but straight at the keeper. Uruguay trying to build some rhythm. Roland and his teammate Laxalt both with Defensor Sporting. Maybe that'll build some chemistry. Laxalt trying to slide it in. Strong challenge, Ortiz. In for Roland, looking for his 4th goal of the tournament. Swing and a miss, and the second effort successful. Guillermo Varela still favoring that right side in the collision. Gets a break here. Already 2 changes for Uruguay. One to adjust for the red card to their captain and center back. The other tactical. Peru still with its full complement. Half hour left. Cartagena with the bump. Emiliano hadn't even played a minute in this tournament. Now wearing the captain's armband after the ejection.
Oh.
In for Cristoforo.
And again.
A little too far.
Peru just looked way fresher, Phil, here tonight as well, don't you think? A little bit more edge to them.
4th game in 7 days, though.
Amazing.
Uruguay actually had a break.
And they look decidedly heavier legged. Oh, again, you go back to the youthful exuberance of these players and keeping the blood running through their veins, and it doesn't seem to have had any effect on Peru. You see if they hit the wall, Uruguay kick on, but just physically they look sharper, the red shirts.
Dropping it back, Guarderas. In many ways, you could say after the way the first dozen minutes went, pushing it wide for Inestrosa, they'd be satisfied with a 1-1 draw. Another swing and a miss by Chavez. But the way the second half has started, they might regret not getting all 3 points. 10 on 10. They're stretching Uruguay. Torrejon again. Guarderas shied away. Universitario number 8. Varela on the throw-in, knocked into the middle, but they'll call a push. By the way, U.S. opens up February 18th against Haiti. Their second match against Costa Rica. Top 2 teams in those 3-team groups will advance. So you don't want to stumble. Haiti's gotten a lot better, but kind of a feeling after watching Argentina and Brazil get knocked out in the group stage. Tab Ramos already reading the riot act. It's not as though the U.S. doesn't have a few fresh memories of their own in the under-20 and Olympic qualifying. Nice from Chavez. Guarderas back to Cartagena. Is it a case of Uruguay conserving or Peru just outplaying? Looking for the gap. Guarderas. Wide for Inestrosa, the Belgian base.
Playing quicker, they're playing smarter, shrewder. There's better movement from the red shirts, but there's certainly a seeming lack of desire for any real penetration. They're not even getting anywhere close to Diamore's net. And yet, the lead-up is all through the red shirts, and this is their danger, the counter.
Launched long again, looking for Roland. He'll be pinned in the corner. Going right at the newcomer, Garcia, and right away with it comes Peru. Graciel Garcia, the 18-year-old out of San Martin, Launch long again for Reina. Both teams taking their turns on Route 1. No collisions yet, maybe here. Torrejon giving chase. Heiss plays it safe. Something else also, Ray, we haven't really talked about, partly due to Uruguay's inability to build any possession in the Peruvian end, so no corner kicks. But also Peru, I think, learned their lesson. They're not even fouling Uruguay in their defensive end. Because with players like Firmiliano and Laxalt, Varela, I've already seen what Firmiliano can do a couple of times. Looking to try and get the cross, maybe a corner. Flores will settle for the throw. You can see why Villarreal likes him on their C team right now. The 18-year-old, I have a feeling, probably destined for better. Torrejon for Flores. Not happy with the delivery. Well, at this time in their first match, Ray, it was 3-2 Uruguay, as they had fought back twice from being a goal down to actually taking the lead thanks to Roland 10 minutes into the second half. Benavente would equalize, though, in the 87th minute. And he is available on the bench if they wish. Varela to Varela. Up for Roland. Cutting in on Cartagena. Again, calling it tight both ways. For Emiliano. Intercepted. Gifted back. Chipped forward looking for Laxalt, but Lopez denied. Sloppy touch from the 17-year-old Tapia. 4 goals in this tournament, and Nico Lopez hasn't even really had a chance today. Flipped on, cleared away awkwardly. Flores takes it off the fire. Deflects, and it actually favors Peru. Reina maybe a little too selfish. Again to Uruguay. Lopez chipping it, looking for Roland. Curled straight into the defense.
As if there's an understanding that the point will do for both these teams. Of course, it's not the way at all. I'm not suggesting that it is, but it certainly has that impression where they're not going to really extend themselves in numbers to get forward in support.
Of course, with Flores and Reina, it's kind of a quick counter for Peru. And the way they started out, you might be right, pushing forward for the opening 10 minutes or so. Nothing happened, so now taking it a bit more casually, a little bit more conservatively make that. Again to Chavez. Through Garcia. Torrejon. Good idea. His brain was working, his foot wasn't. Then Paraguay to follow for Peru. Well, Uruguay will take on Colombia in their second matches 3 days from today. Three-quarters of this match are done. Knotted down by Varela to Guillermo Varela. Both for Peñarol. Slips under Roland. Almost good interception by Jim Varela that time. Cartagena puts it into touch. Pops up Lopez, sweeps it across to the spot, lifted up. Keeper came out, but might have been ruled a back pass, so cleared away. And now another chance for Garcia. Peru with some bodies if they can push it forward. Torrejon. And now Uruguay back. The San Martin midfielder Garcia not on the same page as Flores. Launched long, looking for Lopez. Tapped away, empty net, and buried by the Roma kid. Peru sloppy on defense, and Uruguay reclaims the lead.
Well, he said they just needed to find him with a little bit more service, not as much consideration in the passes. Just get it up to him. He'll make something out of nothing, and this is what he does. Just a ball over the top. It rubs. Dodgy goalkeeping, but then he doesn't even hesitate. Right here, he gets the touch past. Doesn't have to look up. Knows he's exactly where he is in that box and just pummels the net. Simple as you get, Phil. Nothing too pretty about that one. That's Route 1 in the most basic terms. But a great finish.
Fifth goal for Lopez. Give Marcos Ortiz credit. He tried to cover, and Ray, again, something we talked about in the last match against Brazil, as Reina tries to bring this down along the goal line. The way the group stage works and the way this final stage will work, 2 yellows and you are suspended around. Peruvian goalkeeper Angelo Campos out of Alianza Lima, the normal keeper, got what appeared to be just a rather casual yellow in the first half for delaying a restart, and that cost him the game. I don't think he makes that same mistake as Vidal. Now poke free Roland, another foot race. This time Vidal gets there. Peru getting set to make their next substitution. Again, no problem for Vidal.
Well, Vidal felt as if he had to come out and help his central defender, who he saw in distress in terms of keeping up with Nicholas. I think you're right, Phil. Maybe the other keeper makes a little bit of a better effort, but he's in here.
Another chance with help for Reina, but the cross from Torrejon too quick. Shot or cross, just missing the goal.
Good skill, give and go on the volley here from Torrejon, and this ball needed to be pulled back for Reina in support.
Ivan Bulos, the 19-year-old, in Belgium, also with Standard Liège. Another Lima-born Cristal player. Settling it, Roland, lifting it forward. Laxalt, his defensor teammate. Back to Ortiz to clear. Guarderas, a little smile on his face, unintentional enough, says the referee.
Here's the rub of the ball. The goalkeeper doesn't come, Phil. If he stays, it's an automatic hit for this young man. At least the goalkeeper stopped him and made him think right here. Just doesn't get enough of the ball. It's a little bit unlucky for Andy Vidal in a lot of ways, but he doesn't mind.
The other thing, Ray, he sprints to the top of the box, then he starts to realize he can't use his hands. If he continued his run. Maybe he could head it away from Lopez, but easy to say from here. Nico Lopez has something special. That's why Roma plucked him away from Nacional. He's already scored for Roma, and it won't be the last. BNSport.tv. Again, keep tuned. We'll have more streaming coming your way in the coming days, as we did with Chile-Paraguay. All the latest news and schedules. Also get involved in the conversation through Twitter and on Facebook. Laxalt up the line. Johnny Rodriguez. Laxalt. Now with their nose in front, Uruguay starting to seem a bit more composed.
A cruel blow for Peru, who were playing their way into this second half so nicely until that hit. Instead of before the goal, is this Uruguay team playing a bit rope-a-dope. The counter is what they have been living by, and it's not just the isolated man in attack the way Peru has been playing with Reina. This team gets men in support of Lopez a little more, but still it came out of the blue, literally.
Sky blue. Flores past Garcia, who has not looked comfortable since coming onto the pitch.
Oh, back
and now a
post, son.
golden chance for
Beautiful
Lopez.
ball.
First ball, Roland trying to come out. Vidal. Roland will settle.
Gone now.
Trying to lift it in, deflected high. Falls for Laxalt, a weak roller, and then finally cleared by Ortiz.
Beautiful ball by Diego Lopez to find his teammate on that far side. Roland always willing to join in. Just as I said, they get there in support of this man up top, Uruguay, and that energy on display yet again. The Uruguayans, as games have went on, Phil, they seem to get stronger.
And again, one substitute left. They need a goal. They have Benavente, more the creator, but Flores has done well. And they have Andy Polo, the Universitario kid, who's been drawing interest since he was 15 from Europe. Maybe this will be the game. Garcia sneaks it through just behind Reina. Bounces past Ortiz all the way to Vidal. So Lopez now in front of the goal-scoring race. Neymar had 9 in the last championship in 2011. Halfway there with
what you have to admire
to
about
go.
Lopez on that final hit for the go-ahead goal, Phil, is that he didn't hesitate. Once he had beaten the goalkeeper, he knew the defender was heading back towards the line, and he could have taken an extra touch, but the way they're teaching them nowadays, you just pull the trigger when you've got that space, because he would have known instinctively that the late arriving defenders would have been breathing down his neck.
Roland, good stop this time. Vidal got away from him though. Nervous goalkeeper, and Uruguay trying to take advantage. It will be Benavente.
Good goalkeeping that.
Guarderas unhappily exits. Benavente, born in Alcalá, his father a futsal player in Spain, his mother national team volleyball player for Peru, who I guess got the phone call in on Real Madrid's C team, although he has spent some time for the Real Madrid Castilla. And from what we've seen here, I would imagine even more time to come. Handball against Laxalt. Garcia didn't want it apparently. Over to the near side, skips away, but Chavez will track it down. Lifting it towards the back post.
Well played.
A slip by Bulos.
Barella knowing exactly where they are, letting it go out of play. Here again, the hopeful ball. And then this goalkeeper comes out nicely, knows exactly where his box ends and where his responsibility with his feet begins.
Plays like that remind you they're still just 18 or 19.
Yeah.
In some cases 17. Chavez lost his field position. Lets it run. Uruguay. Now 12 minutes left before they can close out an important victory. I think the one thing, normally you just try not to lose too bad against Brazil or Uruguay in these types of tournaments so that the differential and tiebreakers will be in your favor. This time around, without either of the two giants deservedly eliminated in the group stage. Pretty much virgin territory.
Yeah.
Any of these teams could advance.
Absolutely. Agree with you wholeheartedly there, Phil. There are very little between these two teams, and the difference is, well, Nicolas Lopez, for one name to throw up, each of them seem to have that type of player that will make a difference. For Peru, that live wire arena is always going to be a threat. This kid's a good player again. That's a foul, and that should be a card.
Roland being cut off by Marcos Ortiz. He's saying it's not the first time. Carlos Vera.
Good player, this kid, Phil, this Roland. He's good ability. We've seen him earlier making some incredibly hurtful runs, and yet again, he does it. That earlier opportunity, remember when Nicolas Lopez found him streaking down from that midfield position after Lopez got released with a hopeful ball over the top. It's Roland that's always in support, and the other one again, of course, Laxalt. That's the difference. He's just doing it in a different style, Lopez's team. It's effective. Every game we've seen in them, it's been in their DNA, and it comes out in every game.
Lopez with the left, dropping it in, but the teammates running the other direction. Rolando Aguirre coming in for the goal scorer, Nico Lopez. Again, we do have Colombia coming up, and they're going to need him again. And Aguirre played well in his chances in the group stage. Final substitute for Uruguay. The one concern, if you are Uruguay, you saw it in the first match of the day as Paraguay came back. They saw it firsthand. 87th minute equalizer by Peru. Bulos dispossessed, out for Roland. Now without Lopez, it's going to be Roland who will be the point of attack on the counter. Peru has already used their three substitutes. Reina now joined by Benavente and Bulos up front.
I think Roland probably has a little bit more pace to him than even Lopez, Phil. Might not have the skill, but anything over the top, he'll be on to pace to burn. Even at
Flores.
this point, still 10 minutes left and heavy legs, but still,
Garcia.
that man will be able to release.
Wide for Reina. Benavente making the move in the middle, but Reina just maintains possession. Torrejon had a couple of opportunities today but couldn't convert. Garcia tries to thread it through. Uruguay content with just spanking that back to midfield. Can they hold on for 8 more? Pressure, but it slips to Torrejon. Benavente has to scramble. Gets it in, deflected Flores. Second crack, headed in, but just wide of the post, and the whistle had blown regardless. Offside as Peru comes close again. Not quite as sharp as they were against Brazil. Offside by a backside? Well, regardless, it went out. Byron Romero, the Ecuadorian assistant, with the flag. Lances down, Roland on his left. The Defensor Sporting youngster putting out some tricks. And then dispossessed. Nice move by the 17-year-old Tapia. Cabezon with some pretty feet. Again, Torrejon. For Reina. Cleared back, Garcia. Uruguay starting the pressure at midfield. Now dropping. Garcia dances around one, looking to force it to Benavente. Locks out, gassed, but he'll still have a little extra if they need him.
Just wonder how much the sendings off affected both these teams, Phil. We made the point that it seemed to be affecting Uruguay more adversely, but they'll be back. And this Peru team has shown tonight, even if this scoreline stays the same, they're going to have plenty to offer. I've been very impressed myself, the sparkiness
this
of their
player
team.
Especially.
But the resolution again of Uruguay, the resolve, tenacity, and the unity of the team coming through again. Strong in defense. Varela, Velasquez, Formiliano, Rodriguez. They've been forcing this Peru team to play in front of them. They haven't been turned around very much at all.
Out wide, Torrejon sliding over Pais, deflected away for the throw. Need to get the ball to Benavente. Garcia just seems to hold on a bit long. That time got rid of it quickly, though. Torrejon double teamed.
Yep, and we're through again.
Back to Benavente. Snuck across. Tapia. Actually, Marcos Ortiz. Now you know why he's a center back.
It's not a bad run.
Just wasn't sure what to do when he got there.
No, it wasn't as much that. He had the idea of what he wanted to do. He just overruns it a little bit. Driving on urgently, bravely. Just got that little touch too heavy right at the end, just as he was going to play it into the heart of Uruguay's defense. It's happened a few times with this Peru side. Once they do get this width, a little bit hit and hope. This man on the ball finds him nicely.
Well, hard for Benavente, can't quite settle. Now a chance for Chavez.
Let's take a look at this time.
Soft to the middle, not quite hard enough.
It's not accurate enough. It's too hard. Played with too much gusto. They haven't been picking out their players in their attack.
Still 3 minutes and change.
Getting themselves into great positions, Phil. That's part of my point. The frustration for the coach is something to work on.
Garcia fakes, now drives. Almost gets away, cuts to the inside. Garcia tries to beat him again. He had 3 men in front, and he had 4 open teammates. Now a chance for Laxalt, off for Roland, who's onside. Roland puts it in the book. A giveaway in the midfield and a cruel finish for Uruguay, but joyful for the Charrua, who lead 3-1.
As I said, he's got the pace to burn, taking the place of Nicolas Lopez. He may not have the skill, but he's got the legs, and he's set up beautifully by Laxalt. Laxalt gets it, touches it on, he's well onside. Laxalt still making the run in support for the square pass if he's needed. But Roland says, I see you, Laxalt, I don't need you. And a lovely counter-attacking goal once again for La Celeste, Uruguay.
What they couldn't do in the first match of this tournament, put Peru away, they do here, and the two youngsters from Defensor Sporting combine just like they do on the practice field. And again, Garcia just too hesitant, too blinkered. And Uruguay very efficient. Another turn for Roland. By the way, his 4th goal, maybe a chance for his 5th. Drops it back and almost knocked into his own net by Ortiz, but it kicks out for the corner. Again, Roland.
Roland sees Aguirre in support, does beautifully well, rounding the defender. Strong, wonderful touch. Seeing he might not quite have the feet of Nicolas Lopez, he just made me eat my words. Wonderful dexterity around the corner from the Defensor man.
Now killing it in the corner, deflected, called off by the keeper. Remember, goal differential might play a role between Team 4 and Team 5. Still plenty of reason for Peru to maybe see if there's a way to get a second, but they have to be a bit heartbroken. Fighting back for the draw, so many chances in the start of the second half, but very professional, very impressive from Uruguay. Lifted Chavez. This one will carry just over the crossbar. 90th minute reached and added time awaits.
Laxalt sees him. Nice ball into stride. Lovely little touch to sell. That's a great finish. Wonderful look. Sees the target, side netting. Detonated. Laxalt, wonderful as well. Gets it with a big smacker.
Laxalt only 1 goal of his own this tournament, but you can see in this match how much he does. Calling him a water carrier is a disservice. Garcia wide, Torrejon. Peru still pushing forward, if not for anything but to prepare for Paraguay. Another chance for Roland. Team defense this time. Both teams dangerous offensive, defensive frailties. Difference today is Uruguay made Peru pay. Kind of the Marcelo Gallardo look for Benavente with that headband and some of the skills. Chavez to the middle, Garcia in towards the corner, Torrejon. Corner kick, Peru. Another solid match by Uruguay's right back, Guillermo Varela. Big Ivan Bulos hasn't had many chances, if any, since entering. Maybe here. Near post 6, deflects, still loose. Bulos lunges and got man, not ball. Fabricio Formiliano should have said a big man, not the ball.
Unlucky here, Peru. Nice ball attacked at the near post. Nice ball delivered in. But looks like it's Uruguay's night. Sendings off, tilted the table a little bit. Two contrasting teams, Phil. Peru showing up nice and lively, flooding the midfield and leaving little Jose Arena up top. It caused Uruguay problems. But Uruguay's resolve, I go back to that word, still a very strong team. You talk about maturity a lot of times, Phil. I see more and more in this Uruguay side than basically any of the other teams. This Colombia team's going to be a threat when they do meet. That's a wonderful team as well. That should be a fine, cracking match.
Finally, the whistle for offside. Peru will get the restart. Probably the second most, if you want to use that mature label, might be Paraguay.
Yeah.
And they've faced some difficult situations, but never backed down.
Exactly. Really coming down to the business end of this tournament. Plenty to enjoy and some individual talent that around the world the buzz will start about. Nicolas Lopez, Roland, and Lexalt, a wonderful captain leading from the back. Emiliano started the wrecking ball for Uruguay, but a brave response and a sparky response from Peru. Nothing to be ashamed of.
A trip on the first hurdle, and Edison Flores, a smile on his face for Peru as they try and prepare for Paraguay, but it's Uruguay with 3 points in their pocket as they win their opener in the final phase. Ray Hudson, I'm Phil Shane. Thanks for joining us.
The semifinals for the Coppa Italia is here, and only one place brings you all the action, all the suspense and excitement of the best in Italian soccer. Juventus and Lazio, two leaders collide looking for the glory. Only one will survive. The final match is their goal, and no one dares to give up. Juventus versus Lazio, Tuesday on beIN Sport.
Iker Casillas, Dani Alves, Sergio Ramos, Gerard Piqué, Marcelo, Xabi Alonso, Xavi Hernandez, Andreas Iniesta, Radamel Falcao, Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi. They are the FIFA FIFPro World 11 of 20.